Good morning, this is Sally Chang of Evergreen Taiji Academy. Welcome to Morning Qigong. Good morning. All right, start with your feet parallel to each other. Sink in your stance. As you sink in your stance, let the shoulders go. Increase the space in the shoulders. Rotate the arms out. Push up with the feet. Raise the arms above the head without arching the back. Engage your core. Keep your core engaged even as the palms are coming down the front. Bend the knees slightly as the arms come down. Rotate open the arms. Pushing up with the feet, raise up the spine, drop the lower back. And exhale down the front center line. Keep the core engaged. Keep the sensation in the feet going so that you're not separating upper and lower. You want the upper half of the body and the lower half of the body to be continuously communicating. So inhale on the way up, extending all the fingers, increasing the joint space in all of the joints of the hands. Exhale on the way down. Good. From here, let's just do a little bit of arm swinging. Arm swinging is great because it just helps to get us back on our spines and on our structure with some slight bouncing. And it opens up the joints, helps to open up the joints and keep them open. So we have a happier relationship with gravity. Gravity helps us keep the joints open. As you bend the knees, you don't want to be bearing down or pressing into the earth with your knees or your feet or your back or your neck. You just want to keep it open like you're bouncing a ball, and the ball always reaches the top, the crown of the head. It always returns back there. Then as you do this, open up all the joints in the shoulders, the arms. Keep the neck long and open. Tuck the chin in slightly so that the head is not bobbing. The head goes up and down, but you don't want it to wave back and forth. On this one, you just want to keep the spine straight. You want to keep the space in between each vertebrae of the spine open. So you want to relax the hips, relax the lower back, open the knees, and expand the feet, almost like you can feel more, sense more of the texture of the ground that your feet are on. Simultaneously, you want to expand the joints in the wrists, the hands, and all the fingers. You want to feel them expand out, like the joint space increases. So you're not pushing them out because that actually decreases the space, but you're letting them go like your hands and your fingers are really, really long. Good. And then from here, take one step forward and one step back and do the same thing. Keep the front knee still. Keep the front knee pretty still so that you don't over-rotate the waist. Look straight ahead. Chin is slightly tucked, so you don't want to be waving the neck back and forth, waving the head back and forth as you do this because it'll throw your whole body structure off. So you're going to have the eyes looking straight ahead. And then this collar line is going to be rotating on the central axis, but the eyes are going to be straight ahead. And this again keeps you from over-rotating so that the spine gets this good massage without putting any kinks in the spine. Good. Switch your feet. Keep the arms going if you can. And again, you want to have that expansive feeling in the fingers, all the fingers expanding out, expanding in front of you, through the floor, and behind you. Good, and avoid waving the knee around. So the knee is not going front and back. It's not going side to side. It just stays looking forward, like if you had a headlamp or if it had, the knee had eyes like laser beams, they would just be pointing in the same place. Good, okay, great. Now shake it out. And again with this, don't let the neck start to shake out. You want to keep the spine upright so you can shake out the tension in the spine while you're maintaining the integrity of the spine. A little bit faster. Good, all right, relax. All right, from here, let's do a little bit of what we call striking the drum, like a double-headed Chinese drum. You want front and back, so front right at the dantian level and the symmetrical place on the back. But make sure that your shoulders are not being thrown back, so you keep your upright posture. And the weight doesn't change in the feet, so you're not shifting weight from side to side right now. You're just keeping the weight the same in the feet. So that means you're not actually doing a huge amount of rotation in the waist. You're using it mostly with your internal muscles. And you're seeing if your knees had eyes, they're looking forward. And you want the integrity of the internal archway of the legs to be even with the external archway of the legs. So that you can keep that arch-like structure. It's a very strong structure that we try to cultivate in martial arts. And it's strong because it's both flexible and architecturally strong. But we need both the inner line and the outer line to be strong. So not just the outside, which most of us have excess tension on the outsides of the legs. So you want to bring some tone to the insides of the legs. And again, the face is facing forward, the eyes are forward, so the head is not wandering around. And the idea is not to just throw the arms as far to the sides as possible, although that might feel good for a few rounds, not actually great for your joints because it takes them into hyperextension. So you want to keep the joint space even and flowing so that whatever the motion is, going front or going to the back, the joint space stays pretty consistent. It should feel good in there. It's not reaching the rubber band is not reaching its end stretch point. Good. All right. Great. Okay. So from here, now that you're a little bit looser, sink in your stance. Okay. Sink up and down. Your feet are parallel. Feet are parallel right under your hip joints. So not a wide stance, just under your hip joints. And you're going to be sinking and feeling like you can increase the space in your knees as you're going up and down. So as you sink, the joint space in the knees opens. The sensation of the feet, the bottom of the feet open. And so you're not pressing the feet like they're not rigid and pressing into the ground, but they are sensing the ground, and they have a suction cup-like feeling as you're moving up and down. And you're not locking out the joints. Even when you're straightening the legs, you're not locking them out. There's always space in the knees, always space, so the knees feel like they can move and rotate, and they're well supported with their lubrication. Good. All right. From this up and down movement, sink in your stance again. Inhale, raise all the way to the top of the head. When you get to the top, when you get to the shoulder line, start to drop your lower back. The core is engaged when you drop the lower back, and then you have this feeling like all the muscle tissue is pulling down, like somebody's straightening your shirt, pulling this muscle tissue down, and have that raise the arms as opposed to the shoulders. So keep the shoulders down, engage your core, lengthen your lumbar spine to raise the arms all the way to the top. When you get to the top, turn the palms down, but don't turn off the core. Okay, your core is still engaged while you're here. And then you're going to drop your shoulders, but your core is still engaged, and you still feel sensation all the way down to the feet. Good. So the tissue on the front side of your body stays engaged, even though it might feel a little bit more tone as you go up, and the tone might release a little bit as you go down, but it never just fully releases like a wet noodle. And you want to keep the engagement of that tissue on the front of the body so that it's there at all times. It's not going on and off. It's there at the ready and responding to your motions, all of your motions. So this helps to relieve some of the excess work that the back and the shoulders, the young tissues of the body, tend to take over in our very young-oriented culture. So we want to even it out. So we want to bring more attention to the yin side, the front of the body, so that the yang side, the back of the body, doesn't have to do so much work. Good. And then from here, raise the arms in front of you. Turn the palms up and sink the palms like you're drawing in. You're drawing into the lower dantian just by becoming friends with gravity, not getting in the way. You keep your core tone, so you're not like you're not empty in your dantian because the arms are falling. Actually, you have some tone there. The tone helps to receive this energy in the front. And so you feel like somebody is holding you up by your top knot. If you were a Taoist yogi and you had your hair long and pulled up into a top knot, maybe you've seen pictures of that. It's almost like somebody's holding you up from there, even as the body relaxes and sinks down, like somebody's holding you from the crown. And then all the hairs are being pulled up into the crown point. And that gives a kind of energy awareness, this upward movement, even as the body is going down. It's not easy for the brain to multitask in this way. We really think about like down is down and up is up, and we're doing one without the other. But the challenge of this is to do both simultaneously. So even though the down and the up, their sort of proportions of energy usage might be changing, but they're there. They're there at all times. It's not just one or the other, it's both and. Good. Okay. All right. So as we do something like cloud hands, so raise up into cloud hands and then drop one of your arms down to hold the ball. So one is at your middle dantian level, the kind of sternal level, and one's at your lower dantian level. Okay, the lower belly underneath your navel. And then from here, you're going to start to keep the knees pointing forward and turn the waist slightly. And as you do so, you're going to drop and circle like a sphere. The upper hand becomes the lower hand as you're slightly turned to the side. And then you're going to turn to the center by the waist. So now you're in the opposite, holding the ball posture. And you're going to go to the opposite side and do the same thing over here. And you're going to go almost like you're going to expand long. You're going to expand long in order to wrap around the sphere without leaning. So you're not going to lean forward. You're going to expand your tendons and joint spaces and use your core to stabilize yourself so that you feel very rooted in your feet. Using your core, then you can expand the joints in the upper body if you're rooted in your core, and you can feel all the way down to your feet. So the core is engaged. Send that engagement all the way down to both feet, like you're a tree sending roots down. The roots that go down allow for the branches to expand out. So this is rather close to the body. The feeling is almost like you're just massaging your own body. So the cloud hands isn't way out there somewhere. It's actually relatively close on the frontal plane of your body. Cloud hands is something that we can always study more and better. You'd never really outgrow it. You just develop a more deep relationship with cloud hands. So you want to feel that spherical rotation on your interior, on the interior. And the bottom hand, it goes all the way to the opposite shoulder area. So it does, not just to the center, it goes all the way, crosses the body. And actually, to do this properly requires quite a bit of concentration because there's a lot going on inside the body. So you want to keep your crown point suspended like somebody's holding you with your top knot. And that helps you relax your body, opening up your joints, but you want to feel rooted in through the legs all the way down into the soles of the feet. At the same time, the arms are alternating their activity, circling around a globe, circling around a globe. The wrists, the elbow, wrists, and the fingers are all open, so you're not hinging the joints. You want a very circular shape, like your water sliding around a globe, like one of those fountains with a rotating globe on the top. And the water comes up the middle and it just pours down around the shape of the globe, the sphere. And all the surface area is covered, and the water is not jumping off the globe. Water doesn't want to jump off the globe. Actually, it just wants to stick to the shape of the globe as it's flowing with gravity. Good. All right, so this is cloud hands. Good, let's shake it off a little bit. So just with some gentle shaking here. So if we happen to have any excess shoulder tension, if you felt any burning sensation in the shoulders of the neck, you want to be able to discharge that so that you have less and less of that every time you do these exercises. You want to use that burning sensation as feedback. Breathe some air, put out the fire in those areas, lubricate it with your internal synovial fluid lubrication, reduce the pressure, and put out the burning, put out the fires, put out the burning sensation in those areas. Good. Okay, so from here, also let's loosen up the neck. So here, put your hands on your dantian area, and then let's do a little bit of this dragon spine waving. So if you haven't seen this before, we're actually going to wave the spine. Okay, I'm going to turn to the side so you can see it. So you're going to sink in the knees and let that open up all the vertebrae in the spine, especially the lower spine and the hips. And then from there, engage your core and then allow that bending to wave the spine and then wave it the other way to come back up. And then feel this back of the neck loosen up and feel like the spine is waving, like you have a big antenna above your head, and that's also waving. So the wave doesn't stop at the top of your head, it goes beyond. So loosen the jaw. The teeth are just gently touching each other. You want to be opening up the neck, the back of the neck especially, where the spine and the skull meet, at the occipital area. And your feet can be together or you can separate them, just whatever you feel is more stable. You don't want a very wide stance. Just right under your hip bones, or you can do feet together. If the feet together posture is too hard to balance, give yourself a little bit of space. This is dragon spine waving. Release the tension in the neck and turn towards you again. And you want to release and increase the spaces in between each vertebrae, hydrating the discs in between each joint. Breathing slowly and deeply. And keeping the neck and the shoulders very relaxed. Stay in the centers of your feet, moving up and down, connecting with the bones of your legs. So you're not going to the outsides of the legs. The knees don't have to go to the inside and go to the outside and wave. Just stay in the centers of the bones. Stay in the centers of the limbs. And then you can slowly kind of bring it in a little bit less amplitude. The same opening feeling. You want to preserve the spaces in the spine. Preserve the spaces in all the joints. Send plenty of fluid, nourishing fluid into all of the joints. You feel the saliva in the mouth increase. You can swallow that saliva whenever you need to, but that's a good indication that you're generating the good nutritional fluids in the body, which we want to do. We don't want to just burn up all the yin in the body. We actually want to produce nutritious fluids, all the good fluids that lubricate our body, our eyes, our nasal passages, the mouth, our throat, the lungs, all the organs and all the joints. Good, and then just very small, very small. And almost imperceptible. Almost imperceptible on the outside, but you feel a change on the inside. Good, all right, and then stepping out just a little bit if your feet were together. Sink in your stance. Keep that open quality in the spine. As you raise, remember dropping the lumbar spine, engaging your core to raise the arms up. Good. Keeping the core engaged as the palms come down and you're breathing down the front of the body. Bending the knees, having the knees looking forward the whole time. Clearing the palms flat across the waist. And then sinking, keeping the crown point and keeping the chin tucked. And again, inhale on the way up, expanding all the joints, expanding the wrist, lowering the back, expanding the fingers, palms down the front, feeling into the feet at all times without arching the back or bending at the waist. Clearing the palms flat across the waist, sinking the palms lightly, extending the spine upward as you put the fingertips down, and then keeping the joint space in the spine preserved. Dropping the lumbar spine to raise the arms up, keeping the core engaged as the arms come down. Exhaling down the front, clearing the palms flat across the waist, and sinking the palms lightly, keeping the shoulders open. Inhale, keep the space in the spine, preserve the space as you move up and down. Good, from here, bring your left foot to meet the right. Put the palms one on top of the other so that the centers of the palms are one on top of the other. And massage the belly, going down the left, up the right, down your left, up the right 3 times. And then reverse direction 3 times the other way. And as you warm your hands, rubbing your hands together, keep the shoulders down so your core is engaged even here. Okay, there's no tension in the shoulders or the neck. In order to rub the hands, keep the shoulders relaxed and open. Good, and then from here, wash the face with the Qi. Face, sides of the head, jawline 3 times, and then diffuse the Qi from the top to the bottom. Hope you have a great rest of the day. Thanks for joining us for Morning Qigong. See you next time.